back to the war in Ukraine. We want to bring in New York Times Moscow Bureau Chief Anton Troianovski. Thank you very much for joining us, Anton. So let us talk about the latest in the fallout. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is considering declaring neutrality and vowing to keep nuclear weapons out of the country. Nuclear weapons are already out of the country. We do recall the Budapest memorandum. This is something that Ukraine has sort of already agreed to, except for recently changing their constitution, in which they expressed a desire to join NATO. So I guess the question is, this is a nice offer, but will it really make a difference when it comes to these peace talks?
Yeah, I mean, Zelenskyy has been making this offer for a while. He's spoken since the beginning of the war, and he even spoke about it before the war began, that Ukraine was open to discussing the issue of NATO membership and neutrality. He's saying it has to happen along with security guarantees for his country that would be offered by presumably various Western nations. So unclear. The peace talks are supposed to continue starting tomorrow here in Istanbul, but it feels like the war is going to keep going, and Russia is going to keep trying to create facts on the ground to improve its position.
Is there a feeling that Russia can be trusted? I mean, the Budapest memorandum was basically that, assurances of security, that the border of Ukraine would be acknowledged and would be respected in exchange for giving up nuclear weapons. And clearly, it didn't work. So can Russia be trusted?
Right. I think we're well beyond that question of trust. It's more about, at what point will Russia decide, will Putin decide that the military losses he's taking in Ukraine are too severe and he's ready to make a deal that cements some kind of political gain for him. It's clearly not what he was hoping for in the beginning. He seemed to be going for a regime change in the beginning, and now he seems to be increasingly open to a more limited solution that would keep Zelenskyy in power. How that actually furthers, Putin's political goals of expanding his control over Ukraine, preventing the country's westward shift, very unclear. But at this point, I think the most important thing is what happens militarily on the ground, and then the peace talks will kind of flow out of that.
Let me ask you about some reaction, if you can give us any sort of insight or Russian reaction to what the president said over the weekend, his sort of ad lib, where he said, Vladimir Putin cannot remain in power. The administration is busily sort of backtracking on that. But can you give us any insight into how that went over in Russia?
Well, to a great extent, I think it was the Russians, to them, it was what they had believed all along, at least in Kremlin, right? They've always thought that what the U.S. is really about is toppling Putin and weakening Russia, which, again, in the Kremlin view goes hand in hand. Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, said today they were concerned about Biden's comments, that they were monitoring them. In the past, in recent weeks, Russia has threatened to actually break off all diplomatic relations with the U.S., which is something that the Biden administration has said it very much does not want. So there's still a way that Russia could escalate here. But for now, they do seem to be taking their time a little bit in kind of formulating a response and making sure they're keeping their options open.
Oh, that's very fascinating. Anton, thank you.
Thank you.